Make sure you check out our online store where we work with our graphic designer to create stunning garment and product designs that feature a wide variety of aircraft types such as British fighters, World War II aircraft, American bombers, Russian fighters and much more. You can pick your favourite designs and personalise any items within our Redbubble store that range from clothing right the way through to stationery. All of our designs feature our logo so you can show your support for the channel while getting a quality product. You can head to our website aircrewinterview.tv and click store, or go to redbubble.com/people/AC interview. Thank you and enjoy. So can you talk us through some of your ground and flying training on the Eagle?
Yeah, absolutely. So the ground training started with academic and simulator flying in Oregon. So I basically went to an Air National Guard base, which your viewers may not be familiar with how the Air National Guard works into the greater context of the Air Force. Mm-hmm. The Air National Guard is mostly just state funded. And it still has a combat mission as well, but it's kind of nuanced in terms of who pays for the budget, essentially, right. And how they're funded and sourced. But I went to a guard squadron in Oregon and spent probably about a month worth of academics, maybe a month and a half worth of academics and simulators. And then you start off in a two-seat version of the F-15, the F-15D. So you have an instructor pilot in the back seat, and they, basically fly with you for the first couple of sorties. And then the rest of the program, you pretty much do all by yourself in a single-seat F-15. And occasionally when you're doing something brand new, something that's very high G, very complex, they'll put an instructor pilot in the backseat as like a safety observer, essentially, right, to make sure you're not doing anything crazy, because it is dynamic and challenging. And but that's kind of the program for the F-15 and how that progressed. And it took about 6 months or so, 6-7 months to finish that course.
So our favourite subject on the channel and our viewers, they want to know about DACT. So how did the F-15 fare in DACT against the types at the time?
Yeah, the Eagle is just an incredible air-to-air platform. So in terms of maneuverability, it's phenomenal. I'll go back to the cars example. So if you're flying the Eagle, it's got great big wings, very similar to Raptor in that way. Big wings, it flies very high altitude. So the ability to get high and fast in any airplane allows you to shoot missiles further, which obviously increases your offensive potential. So it's got a huge radar up front. So that thing is phenomenal. And the ability to put that airplane where you want it to go and be able to employ weapons before anybody else can, based on the capabilities in terms of altitude and speed, was great. And like I said, getting up there in the higher altitudes, it handles like a Cadillac. It's very smooth. But then when you want to turn and get into a dogfight, it's very, very maneuverable. And what I like about the Eagle a lot is that when you're fighting other airplanes, the F-15 buffets a lot. So as you increase the G and like kind of the buffet or the angle of attack increases in the airplane, you'll start feeling these like kind of shaking vibrations of the airplane, right, and it'll increase in intensity as you increase the angle of attack. And what's really nice about that airplane is that the way that airplane flies and designed, it's a pretty much it'll constantly increase. What's really nice when you're flying and fighting against other airplanes, in kind of a visual arena, kind of that dogfighting kind of scenario. You can truly feel the airplane and how it's performing and how it's handling, and you just intuitively know, based on experience of flying that specific airplane, how you're doing and how it's responding to what you're asking of it. So I love the airplane. It's a great airplane, and they've continued. It's an older airplane. Obviously, it was some of the airplanes I flew in the F-15 were built in the 70s and 80s, and what they've done is they've continued to increase the software and hardware components of that airplane. So the airframe itself is structurally an older airplane, but in terms of the components, the hardware, the software, the weapons, they've continued to upgrade those. And I think it's still an incredibly formidable airplane against anything out there. It's obviously not stealthy. It doesn't have the performance the Raptor has, but I think the Eagle's still a phenomenal airplane and very relevant still.
Yeah, so do you have any memorable stories from flying the Eagle?
Yeah, actually,
I'm sure you got plenty, but maybe a couple.
Yeah, I've got heaps of stories. Yeah, I think one of the really cool, like one of those memories, I think all of us have these things in our life where we experience something and that image gets burned in our brain, and we'll never forget that image, until we die. And one of the most memorable experiences I ever had in the Eagle was actually my third high aspect ride. So basically dogfighting ride where you instead of having somebody start off offensive, start off defensive, you basically start off neutral. And that's how you begin the fight. So it's still a part test training kind of mission, but you're starting off neutral instead of having anybody have a specific advantage. And this is my third high aspect ride in the F-15 school. And at the time, my instructor pilot was the highest time F-15 pilot in the Air Force. So he had the
Wow.
most amount of hours, the most amount of experience of any other pilot in the Air Force. And I probably at the time had the least, if not close to the least amount of experience and hours in the F-15 in the Air Force. So we go out there and fly, and it was one of those dusk sorties. So we're out there, and we get into a tree, which essentially means that we have, slowed the fight down dramatically. We're basically, if we look at it from the side perspective, we're basically doing this. We're fighting for advantage, like, positional cheer. The airplane's very slow. We're both in afterburner. So with the sun going down, and you see his two afterburner, you see the flames come out the back end of his plane, and I'm just like, holy cow! I take a second to think about this. I'm like, I'm the youngest Eagle driver in the Air Force, and that is the oldest Eagle driver in the Air Force. And here we are fighting with two F-15s on an absolutely stunning night or evening. It was just incredible, and I got to learn so much from him. And it was just, that was one of those images that'll never leave my brain.
Absolutely. So how long did you spend on the Eagle?
I started in August of 2010, and then I left in May of 2014 or June of 2014.
So how many hours did you get on the jet?
It was about 500 hours.
Not bad, not bad.